Do you feel that you've put too much weight on over the Christmas holidays because you've drank and you've ate too much? Well, don't worry too much guys, because I've got you covered on today's video, which is 5 tips for fat loss. The first tip has a lot to do about bulking up, which is basically ensuring that you have enough muscle mass before you cut down so you have a solid, big foundation. That's where a lot of people go wrong, because there's a difference between being lean and being shredded. Being shredded means that you have a low body fat percentage whilst having a lot of muscle mass to show off, so that you're basically going to look amazing in comparison to being lean, where you have very little body fat, but you don't have much of a foundation. Sorry to put that out there, but that basically then creates a skinny look. If you are overweight, you should obviously be cutting down, but that's a completely different story. I'm talking about the average person who wants to cut down. You may even want to bulk through summer and then basically sacrifice your abs, because I see a lot of guys who really want abs. I did last year and I cut down, and then I made that mistake because I looked extremely skinny and I actually looked like a skeleton in the face. Maybe even bulk for 2 summers, because you will definitely thank yourself in the long run in comparison to doing a bulk that's like 2 to 3 months and then you get scared about putting on body fat. Don't be scared guys, because ultimately you can always cut that down, and after that you would have created a solid foundation of muscle mass. Yeah, you're not going to have abs over 1 or 2 summers, but then after that you have the availability to show it all off. I do not advocate a dirty bulk, because then it takes a lot longer to strip down the fat. A lot of people have done this before and they have said that they then produce more fat cells. Definitely keep it sustainable. Choose the lean bulk route, so then you can gain slow and steadily without gaining too much fat. Tip number 2 guys is to track your calories and your macronutrients on a day-to-day basis instead of just intuitively eating. You can use an app called MyFitnessPal to track the macros and the calories, but you could also follow a food plan where you eat the same things every day, and maybe you could have an option A, an option B, an option C, meaning that you could change up from chicken, turkey or fish. So if you have a food plan, you're basically tracking calories because you're having the same thing every single day. It works out to be the same macros, so it is very convenient. But the overall reason that you want to track your macronutrient intake is because you want to be in a caloric deficit. That is necessary to lose fat. So that is obviously the most important thing, because without being in a deficit, you're not going to lose fat, which means you're not going to lose weight. A lot of people naturally just think, oh, I'll eat healthy all day and then I'll obviously lose weight. But that's not how it works, because if you don't track, and let's say you're at 1,000 lettuces, you're going to be in a calorie surplus, which means that you're consuming more than you're expending, which also means that you're basically going to be putting on weight. People constantly question it, oh, why am I not losing weight? Track your calories, and that way you know exactly what you're putting in your body, which means that you know exactly how many calories and exactly how many macronutrients you're having. That's what matters. As I've said before in a recent video, it's thermodynamics and there's no way around it. It's science. It doesn't necessarily matter what you eat, it's how much you're eating, so it's everything in moderation. The first thing you want to do is download MyFitnessPal, like I said, track your calories and eat 500 calories under your calorie maintenance level. Maintenance meaning TDEE, which is total daily energy expenditure. So that's where your body stays exactly the same. So you want to subtract 500 calories from that in your macros, which you want to take from fats and carbs mainly, and you want to keep your protein as high as possible. So that's the way you want to go about it, and then you'll start losing fat. Point number 3 is to eat a lot of vegetables, other greens, and a lot of fibrous foods, because those foods will basically keep you fulfilled and satiated, and that's good when you're cutting down because you've got minimal calories, so you need the most amount of satiation as possible, so then you're not binging and overeating. Everyone when they're cutting down is going to get hungry at one point. That's just the reality of it all, especially if you wanted to really push the body and you wanted to get low single-digit body fats. That's when your appetite is going to go through the roof. So in order to minimize that, eat a lot of vegetables, because you can actually volumize your meals since they're not very calorically dense. In comparison to something like a tablespoon of peanut butter having around 90 calories in, you could have a bowl of vegetables which would only be around 200 calories, so there's a huge difference. Vegetables are high in fiber and very low in calories, so this also helps. So what I try to do when I'm cutting down is I try to implement vegetables and fruit in every single meal, so then I know that I'm going to be satiated and I know that my hunger cravings are going to be eliminated. Double, triple, quadruple the portions of vegetables to make it as easy as possible when you're cutting down, so then you're fuller for longer. There's literally no restrictions on what portion size you can have, so just add as much as you can. I know that a lot of people don't like greens and vegetables, but pick something that you like. Try and slowly get into it so then you enjoy it, because it's just going to make it easier in the long run, and there's so many options to choose from, so you're definitely not low on options. Tip number 4 guys is drink more water. As I've said in the past, as soon as you wake up, your body thinks you're hungry, but that's not true. Your body's dehydrated. It hasn't had any fluids from 6 to 8 hours, so you really need to hydrate yourself. Always have a big water bottle on you, because throughout the day when you're hungry, you could chug some water to basically decrease your hunger or even fully kill your hunger. Especially when you're on minimal calories, water is literally your best friend. And if you struggle to drink water, you could even add in sparkling water, because you want it to taste better and you feel that water is very bland. So switching it up like that could be an option. But there's just so many options. Like, life's becoming great for us lifters. I definitely recommend 2 to 3 litres a day and then slowly increase it over time when you're used to it. And also a tip within a tip, if you're craving something so badly and you feel like you need to have it, stop for a second, find as many vegetables as you can in your house, put them all together in a bowl and make a big salad, then add any protein that you desire, put a low calorie sauce over it, whether it's a low calorie oil or whether it's extra like mayonnaise, then literally force yourself to eat that meal instead of the meal that you initially wanted. See how you feel then, because you will definitely be moderately full if you put enough vegetables in there. And then after that, get the biggest glass in your house, fill it up, down it, refill it and down it another time, and I promise you, your belly will feel full, bloated, and your cravings will be killed. The 5th and final tip, guys, is lifting heavy. This is something I always stress to people when they're in a cutting phase, especially when the individual is trying to get shredded, because like I said in the beginning of the video, there's a difference between being lean, losing weight and losing fat and getting shredded, because when you lose fat you want to minimize muscle loss in order to maintain the maximum amount of muscle that's on your body whilst also having minimal fat. That's what looks amazing, and it is not easy to accomplish because every single person on earth will be walking around like they're a gladiator, because you know, dropping weight is quite simple. You basically eat less calories and you could be in a crazy caloric deficit and do loads and loads of cardio, but the problem there is you will actually lose so much muscle mass, and that's something that we all want to minimize. At the beginning of a cut, you could actually still make some gain. If you're training in the gym, you're keeping your protein high and you're getting enough recovery, but then that's to a certain point, and once you get really lean, that's where you lose so much strength. So to keep the strength and to keep the muscle mass, I definitely recommend a plan where you're incorporating low rep sets. I myself anyway always do a combination of hypertrophy and strength training. I'd rather decrease the total volume of the workout instead of dropping the weight. So from 5 sets of 5 reps, I drop 1 set, so that will obviously make it 4 sets of 5 reps. So in order to keep that strength up, sacrificing the volume is something that you could also do to stay strong, because obviously at the end of the day it's more significant to keep the strength up instead of maintaining a lot of volume in your workouts. Lots of people make the mistake where they increase the rep ranges and decrease the weight whilst they're cutting down, because that's what they think they need to do, because they think that they're going to burn more calories by doing more reps. You may actually burn a little bit more calories, which is going to be very minimal at the end of the day, but overall in the long run it's going to be better to maintain how heavy you're lifting on a day-to-day basis as much as possible. That way it's going to be optimal for your body because you'll be maintaining as much muscle mass as possible. Right guys, on that note I'm going to end the video here. I hope that you've enjoyed it and you've learned something that you can take from this video and apply it into your life as a strategy, and also just the fact that it increases your knowledge. But I'm going to wrap up this video here. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.